It's been such a journey, and to see him find his calling in law enforcement was amazing. I really got to see him go from the boy I knew to the man he was meant to be through that, and then to see that ripped away, not on his terms, was very challenging to say the least, and tried us as a couple and personally. I think the whole journey was very challenging, but getting to the other side of that has been amazing.
I do not know you, but I am your brother.
You do not know me, but I am your protector.
I will run into a burning building to save your life.
Though I do not know your name, I will take a bullet for you.
Though we've never met,
I believe in duty and sacrifice
of self.
Your family is my family.
Is my family. Your life is my duty.
What's going on, guys? Time for another episode of Behind the Uniforms. I am honored, absolutely honored to host these two who took a really long flight to get out here because we're in the great state of Connecticut, which is the middle of nowhere compared to where they are. But here's how the show works. If you've never seen it before, we invite first responders, veterans, active, retired, doesn't matter. They come on the show, they bring a bottle of whiskey for the whiskey wall, and they tell us usually about a good day, about a bad day, about what they're working on today. So without further ado, why don't you tell everybody who you are, and then let's whiskey and let's talk.
Sounds good.
I'm Jeff Wolfgang,
And I'm Zanna Wolfgang.
and we formed a program called Honor the Brave, so that's why we're here.
Awesome. So let's talk whiskey first.
All right.
All right.
What'd you bring?
We brought a bottle of Do Good whiskey out of Modesto, California. And what's really special about this bottle of whiskey is it comes from a law enforcement owned company who created this particular bottle in honor of law enforcement, and proceeds go back to a Fallen Officers Memorial Fund, a portion of it from every bottle that's sold. And Do Good comes from the owner's favorite quote, Jim Harrelson, which is Do Good and Be Well by Ben Franklin. He was an amazing man who unfortunately, he did spend 15 years in the sheriff's department out there, and chased his dream creating this whiskey company, and unfortunately passed away of a heart attack at only 38 years old this year.
Wow, that's a shame. Company's still running?
Yes, sir.
His
awesome.
wife, Liz
and-
Harrelson.
And friends are gonna keep it going.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What a nice fitting tribute. 91.1 proof.
Yes.
Yes, all of their bottles actually are 91.1 as a tribute to officers everywhere.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, to you
Cheers.
guys and to
Cheers.
the company, cheers. So why don't we start with, give us some background on your service to America.
I was a police officer in Sunnyvale, California, in the South Bay for 8 years. Cut short due to on-the-job injury. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so that forced a medical retirement after multiple surgeries. I was ultimately on a traditional vehicle stop, that went wrong, and suspect tried to run me over and hit on the left side, blew out all my discs in my lower back. So
Jeez.
they put me back together with 2 surgeries and a bunch of titanium and all that, and so I got forced to medically retire. So.
Were you guys together at this point?
We
Yes.
have been together 24 years, believe it or not.
You guys don't look, you were what, like 3? Jeez.
15 and 16 right here, high school
Yeah.
sweethearts.
That's
so
awesome.
It is awesome. Yeah, married 17. So, but yes, so we've been through it all together.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's like family.
Yeah, we've got 2 boys, 11, 14, and it's been such a journey, and to see him find his calling in law enforcement was amazing. I really got to see him go from the boy I knew to the man he was meant to be through that, and then to see that ripped away, not on his terms, was very challenging to say the least, and tried us as a couple, and personally, I think the whole journey was very challenging, but getting to the other side of that has been amazing, and been able to create something beautiful out of what wasn't an ideal situation.
Not to minimize the pain that you experienced and what you went through, but what a lot of people don't think about and talk about and have conversations about are the flip side of it, which is what the spouses have to go through, and how there's such an incredible support system, even when it's
Yes.
so trying on the marriage or on the relationship.
Yes.
What message do you have for other couples who are experiencing the same thing? Because I'm sure you guys pulled lessons out of this.
Absolutely.
Oh, gosh.
It was
So
a
many.
journey. It from the date of my injury when that all happened, pretty much right away, the surgeon said, your career's done and this is what we need to do to your back. And I said, that's not happening. So I was raised in a way of you don't quit, you don't give up. So from that date to when I was forced to medically retire, when I had my second back surgery, I worked almost 2 years full duty, just absolutely destroying myself because I wouldn't give up. But that in turn put a huge strain on our marriage, and I was just, the pain, the mental process, thinking, this is my identity, this is who I want to make a difference in this world, I want to be with my brothers and sisters out here, I will not give up.
At any cost.
At any cost. I used to tell her, if it takes my life, it takes my life, but I'm okay because that's paying paying my contribution to this country and the community that I served is the way I viewed it. On the backside of that,
how'd that go
she
over?
took.
I loved his passion
sir.
for what he did. I did love that. It did become a bit of an unhealthy balance of that it defined him so much that he would have sacrificed anything for that career at the expense of, at the end of the day, being there still for us and our two boys. I was very supportive. I never was angry or had resentment towards his career. I just wanted him to put us first, and that wasn't what happened. It took a long time to have him. Once he lost his career, that was rock bottom, I would say. Well, no, I think it came a little bit after that, actually, of really going, who am I outside of this? And
Sure. What was the breaking point that you ended up finally saying, I'm out?
Law enforcement wise,
Yeah.
well, it was ultimately the city that I worked for stepped in and said, that's it, you're done. So I even kind of fought that.
because he had to have fusion.
Because they wouldn't, I was falling over. My left leg was no longer functioning. So I was falling out of my patrol car. I was falling over in the grocery store, at home. She'd pick me up, and so we joked around about it and we called it my trick leg. And so, because the nerves were no longer firing to the muscles, basically. And so ultimately the city made that decision for me, and I even fought that. But it was the best thing that could have happened in that situation, because I'd have kept going. And so when my kids finally looked me in the eyes, and they were younger then, obviously, and just said, Dad, are we ever going to be able to wrestle ever again?
Wow.
Kind of hit me, because, here I was, I'd spend my days off on the living room floor because I could barely move, and then I'd go to work and give it everything, and then come home and I'd be like, I can't do anything, so that really was kind of like a gut punch, and going, what am I doing?
Sure.
Ultimately?
So what did it turn into?
Well,
It's turned into, when he was recovering from his surgery and going, what's next? Because he had found his passion. So to then do a career that is anything less felt like settling for him, which I completely get. I had a background in real estate, which I encouraged him to join me in because of the lifestyle of flexibility, being able to coach our kids, be at all the events. And he was, in choice words, no way.
I was in a hospital bed in our living room,
are you kidding me?
Unable to move.
Yeah.
She was doing everything for me, like even, my pride and dignity were even gone.
That's
she had
humbling.
to take me to the bathroom and, wipe me, everything, shower, everything. And so at that time I was just like, no.
And sat in his hospital bed in the living room watching the news, which was the worst
That
combination
was
he could have possibly
Ferguson
done.
and all that.
Oh, geez,
so I'm sitting
yeah.
here watching the news, and all I'm wanting to do is be back out on the streets with, and I couldn't even move, and so.
And I
so,
tend
yeah,
to be
so-
positive, which happens to be very annoying when you're in a hospital bed, recovering and mad at the world. And I'm like, it could be worse. You're here. And he's like, really? Really? Don't tell me it could be worse.
So yeah, but out of that, we talked more and more about it, and she's like, well, why don't you focus on your people? Everyone that you believe in and that I believe in, and that's law enforcement,
Well, first he
military,
said,
and fire.
I can't deal with your people.
Well, yeah, fair.
Just meaning,
Because she would get calls at 10 o'clock at night
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
a client that thought something was an emergency, and I'd come from a position of, well, if I don't have a
anybody's
gun
getting shot?
in my face, or
Right.
if someone's not
Right.
losing their life, it's not really an emergency.
Sure.
So just two different thought processes.
mindsets.
That's
Yeah,
all. And-
absolutely.
And so out of that, she goes, why don't we marry your passion with my passion? And so
That's awesome.
I got my license, and then we started focused on law enforcement, military, and fire, current or previous. And then out of that came we want to give back. So we were given a portion of our commission to anyone, and we named it Honor the Brave.
Awesome.
That's how it began. So fast forward, we made a move and moved to Montana to raise our kids and all that. And,
Why Montana?
because it's mind-blowing amazing.
It's our perfect canvas when it comes down to it. It
Got it.
just, everything we could ever want outdoors is there.
Winter, summer, everything outdoors that we're into is just right there in our backyard. Instead of having to travel 2 or 3 hours to get the winter portion to do
Sure.
this. And ultimately our kids just said, Dad, we want to be able to go out our door and have an adventure and not be surrounded by concrete. And that's
awesome.
like, well, that's...
Well, that's
It
a
was
big
hard.
change from
it was
California.
hard to leave our friends and family. That
Yeah.
is the only thing I think we miss is our friends and family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where is it now?
So moved to Montana, and we thought, wow, there's so many men and women in this country that serve the country, the communities in it, and we want to give back to and thank as many as we can for their service and their sacrifice. So we sat back down and revamped Honor the Brave this summer, about 6 or 7 months ago, and said, let's go nationwide with it so we can thank as many men and women for their service as we can. So that's when the nationwide portion came out, and so we went nationwide platform with Honor the Brave.
So yeah, we've stepped out of the realtor role, and we just partner with agents across the country, and that's been an unexpected, rewarding process too, because it was only about giving back and thanking the people that serve our country, but being able to interview and find people in the real estate business that actually do love and appreciate the opportunity to give back is so refreshing, because it's not what
awesome.
you feel every day. And so just getting to align with like-minded, amazing people that are so grateful for the opportunity to give back to our men and women who serve this country has been, for me, very rewarding.
Well, listen, from a business perspective, guys, it's genius. Like,
Thank you.
Real talk, it allows you to scale the unscalable to help so many more people by leveraging like-minded individuals who believe in your core
Absolutely.
values. I think
Yeah.
it's incredible. So people who are watching, what do they need to know about the organization?
So it's nationwide. So ultimately what Honor the Brave does is if you're current or previous law enforcement, military, or fire, and you're going to buy or sell real estate anywhere in the country, if you come to us, then we align you with an agent, or if you know of an agent that's an amazing person and believes in law enforcement, military, and fire also, then we'll reach out to them, make them part of the program. So ultimately, we, Honor the Brave, gives that client what's equivalent to 10% of their agent's total commission. We give them that back after it closes, after escrow closes, as a thank you for their service.
It's awesome.
And then another 5% we donate to a nonprofit of their choice that benefits law enforcement, military, or fire in some capacity.
That's wild. How do you guys make money?
Well, in the end, so there's what's called a referral agreement with agents. So we're referring these clients to these agents, our agents,
Got it.
and anyone. And so there's a referral fee. So out of that referral fee, that's what we pay all that from.
Got it. Okay.
And then there's a
And then
little
we make
left
some
over.
too.
And so whatever's left
Cool.
over is what Honor the Brave gets, but we don't look at it as, we want to make money off it.
Sure.
It's just we want to serve it in as many people and thank as many men and women as possible.
That's awesome.
So-
And the reason that I ask about how you guys make money on it, because I want to see this continue to grow and
I
scale.
hope
It's an
so.
incredible program.
Yeah.
Listen, we've done a lot of work in the real estate world as the guy that runs a marketing agency, and I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. I mean, I do think there's other organizations that give back to the same people that we want to serve. I think that there is nothing that compares, and this is what sets us apart, is what's driving us, and that is where we come from, why we do it. And yes, we can make a living at it, but that's not our driving force. Our driving force is really the opportunity to make a small difference, say thank you. And then these nonprofits have I keep discovering more and more amazing programs, and to get to write those checks and make that impact on so many different levels
That's awesome.
is unbelievable. Yeah.
How can people learn more?
We have a website, honorthebrave.com. Everything's on there, our contact information, our personal cell phone numbers, email, or they can just fill out a thing on there, and then it then downloads to our email and says that someone filled something out, and then we contact you personally.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So it's all on there. And honestly,
yeah, go.
like you had said earlier about, you know, the men and women that are going through tough times in their careers, law enforcement, military, or anything like that, and marriages and all that. So, and that's an amazing thing that's come from this is I've had a few people that I've never met before hear about like our story. They're not buying or selling, but they've reached out because they too were facing forced medical retirement in the law enforcement profession. And I talked to them for over an hour, just, you know, telling them my story and answering any questions. And so that's an amazing thing that's come from this that I also want people to know is our personal cell phones are on our website. If anyone out there is going
Yes.
through tough times, I mean, in that 2-year span, I caught myself in my patrol car sometimes after calling. I'd just be, you know, crying like, what the heck? I'm going to lose this career. I knew it was kind of coming. And I was like, get it together, you know? And so I know there's other men and women out there that go through things. And that's the thing is, I mean, I'm there all the time. I mean, call me, text me, anything. I
Absolutely.
would love to talk to people about what they're going, nothing to do with buying or selling real estate or anything. And Zanna on the other side, she's very passionate about relationships too. So if there's a spouse out there, I mean, that's what we're
We
about.
get
It's
it,
just-
and I think if you share your crap, for lack of better words, you know, people realize they're not the only ones going through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so while this started with real estate, because that's the resource that we had to do something with, I see Honor the Brave being so much bigger than that in the long term. And my passion is really more relationships than anything, and to have the opportunity to support people, because you know what, every relationship is going to go through their stuff, right? But
True story.
getting to the other side of that is where you reap the true rewards, because you know it was so easy for us. We have been together since we were 15 and 16, and we were that all-American couple, and you know it was easy. We were dialed, we did it all right, and then all of a sudden it wasn't, and that, I think we took it completely for granted, and now we value it in a whole nother way, but it's having the resources to get to the other side, and I think people sometimes don't have those resources and it falls apart and you don't get to reap those rewards, and I just want to support people however we can in that.
That's awesome. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. It's going to take you 2 seconds to share this. It's literally going to take you 2 seconds to hit the damn share button on the video, so we'd be extremely appreciative if you would do that. To those of you who serve and protect our communities and our country, thank you and God bless. To you guys,
Cheers.
thank you so much
Cheers.
for coming out. Cheers.